Assalamualaikum and good evening to Dr. Chandran. We are from Group 6 and our group member is Kimberly, Kimberly Mbiyim, Muhammad El Lazidi, which is me, Ahmad Amirul Izwan bin Ahmad Badri, Pavitra Chandran, and Halilur Rahman bin Sahul Hamid. Okay, so today we're going to present our MRR framework, which is proposed discipline mechanism. So, what is MMR? Okay, nowadays, teachers often face challenges such as disruptive behavior during the class, lack of motivation and focus among the student, and disrespectful attitude that affect their classroom harmony. To address this issue, the MRR model, which is model reinforced reflect, provide a structure and student-centered approach to promote positive discipline. The model operates in three key strategies. First, model. The teacher acts as a role model by demonstrating respect, responsibility, and appropriate behavior for students to follow. Second is reinforce, which is positive behavior are consistently acknowledged and rewarded to strengthen good habit and motivation. And lastly is reflect, which is teacher and student engage in reflection to understand misbehavior, learn from mistake, and plan better action for the future. So by this model, teacher can manage discipline through, like what I said, example, encouragement, and guidance rather than punishment.
Now, looking into the objectives of MRR, the first one will be to promote a positive and safe learning environment. Now, the primary goal of an effective discipline control mechanism is to create a positive, respectful, and safe school environment where students can learn without fear or distraction. A positive environment increases student engagement, reduces absenteeism, and builds mutual respect between teachers and students. Looking into the second objective, the key objective is to ensure that disciplinary actions are fair, consistent, and ethically sound in line with the Education Act 1996 and MOE circulars on student discipline. Effective discipline control mechanisms establish transparent procedures where all students, regardless of background, are treated with dignity and equality. Now, looking into the third objective, the ultimate aim of any discipline mechanism is to develop students' self-discipline, where they regulate their behavior not because they fear punishment, but because they understand values and the consequences. To conclude the three objectives, discipline should train the heart as much as it trains the mind, nurturing students who act responsibly even when no one is watching.
For the constructive philosophy, this is about uh, the essence of the study learning. The core idea of student is construct knowledge under understanding through experience and a reflection. MR connection is to monitor the teacher observe and understand content of the student behavior. Also, based on the reflect, a student engage in self-assessment and learn from their action lah. Where next one is application and discipline is not imposed but developed through guide learning and personal growth. The second one is humanities in philosophy. Core idea is every student has the inherent work of the capacity improvement, where MMR connection to reinforce positive behavior, knowledge, promoting safety and motivate. So next one is reflect, encourage empathy, emotional intelligence, and personal responsibility lah. Like I said, where the student that understand topic can teach their friend in the classroom who that understand fully of the topic. And it's discipline is about nurturing our child, not just correcting their behavior. The third one and the last is restorative philosophy, where it's on focusing on repairing the harm and restoring relationship rather than punishment. Like to listen to them, try to connect with them rather than give them punishment first. All right, and the third is identify the relationship between independent and that's need attention, where this kind of student may need a bit more attention from the lecturer. All right, application discipline, become communicate building process, portraying academic and healing. That first that like the beginning, where we communicate with student about this behavior that they should not in the classroom lah. That's all from me. Thank you.
Thank you, Amirul. So now I will be explaining the structure of the model reinforce reflect MRR framework. So this framework consists of 3 sequential stages designed to promote positive behavior and also emotional growth among students. So the first stage would be the model stage. So this stage serves as the foundation where teachers demonstrate expected conduct and also classroom norms. So it highlights that discipline begins with consistent examples set by educators, allowing students to internalize appropriate behavior through observation. So next we have the reinforce stage, where we focus on sustaining positive behavior through feedback and also recognition. There are 2 types of reinforcement, which are the positive reinforcement and also the corrective reinforcement. Ideally, both reinforcements must be fair, specific, and also consistent. So this can help students understand expectations and also self-regulate. And then the third and final stage would be the reflect stage, where this stage enables students to evaluate their behavior, understand the consequences of their action, and also plan for improvement. So this reflection helps transform discipline into self-regulation and also emotional maturity, making students active participants in their behavioral growth. So overall, the structure of MRR forms a continuous cycle where teachers model, students act, and also receive reinforcement, and the process concludes with reflection before restarting again.
Okay, now looking into the strategies, the first one, effective discipline starts with clarity when students clearly understand what is expected of them. One of the most effective ways to create ownership and fairness is to create rules together with students. Instead of imposing rules, involve them in the discussion about what behaviors make the classroom safe, respectful, and productive. This collaboration process gives students a sense of responsibility. This can be done in several ways. Number 1, displaying classroom rules prominently on the wall or notice board. Number 2, providing verbal reminders at the beginning of lessons or whenever behavior starts to drift. And the third one, holding group reflection sessions where the class discusses how well they are meeting the agreed expectations. These practices help keep the rules alive and relevant rather than something students forget after the first week and the following week they forgot. Maintaining clear and consistent expectations helps prevent confusion and promotes a positive learning climate. Now, looking into the reinforcement, one of the most effective discipline strategies in any learning environment is the consistent use of both positive and corrective reinforcement. Reinforcement is a key behavioral tool that helps shape and sustain desirable conduct while correcting inappropriate behavior in a constructive way. Let's start with positive reinforcement. This involves recognizing and rewarding good behavior so that it is more likely to happen again. It can take many forms, such as verbal praise or encouragement, giving out certificates, points, or class rewards, and offering public recognition during assemblies or class announcements. Over time, students begin to self-regulate because they associate positive feelings with appropriate behavior. Moving into the corrective reinforcement. This focuses on redirecting negative behavior in a fair and constructive manner. Examples include verbal reminders or warnings, a temporary loss of privileges, or having behavior review sessions where students reflect on their actions and develop better choices. Reinforcement, whether positive or corrective, must be immediate, specific, and fair. This means responding to behavior as soon as it happens, describing exactly what was done right or wrong, and applying the same standard to every student. For example, instead of saying good job, say good job on helping your classmate finish the assignment. The specific feedback helps students understand the behavior that deserves recognition. In short, a classroom that balances positive and corrective reinforcement becomes a learning community based on respect, fairness, and accountability. Going into the third one, the conflict and resolutions. Well, this approach shifts our focus from punishment to understanding, empathy, and repair. Instead of simply asking, who is to blame? Restorative practices encourage us to ask, what happened? Who was affected? And how can we make things right? The goal is not to impose fear or guilt, but to help students understand the impact of their actions and take responsibility in a constructive way. This builds emotional awareness and moral reasoning, key components of lifelong character development. There are several techniques that can help make this approach work in the classroom. First, de-escalation strategies. When conflicts arise, teachers can use calm tones, active listening, and physical space to reduce tension before it turns into confrontation. Remaining composed and modeling calm behavior helps students regulate their emotions. Second, peer mediation. This involves trained students or guided sessions where peers help resolve conflicts among classmates. It teaches communication, empathy, and problem-solving skills, turning discipline into a learning experience rather than a punishment. Third, guided reflection sessions. After an incident, a teacher can meet with the student to discuss what happened, why it happened, and how to prevent it in the future. The focus is always on learning from mistake and restoring relationships, not on assigning blame. In addition, schools can use a graduated response system where consequences become progressively more serious only if behavior does not improve. For example, start with a verbal reminder or conversation. Move to a reflection session if the issue repeats. If necessary, contact parents to involve them in finding a solution. Finally, take administrative and necessary action only when all other steps have been tried and nothing works out. This system promotes fairness and proportionality, ensuring that responses match the seriousness and frequency of the behavior.
The successful implementation of the model reinforced reflect or the MRR framework depends on the collaboration of actually 4 key stakeholders. This slide we've categorized teachers and administrators as school as a whole. So in school, teachers serve as the main role models in this framework. So their daily conduct and communication set the behavioral tones for students. So in line with the social learning theory, students learn appropriate behavior by observing and imitating their teachers. Therefore, teachers must consistently demonstrate respect, empathy, and also show responsibility while also applying reinforcement, guiding students through reflection. Administrators, on the other hand, ensure that the framework is applied consistently throughout the school. So they provide professional development, monitor policy enforcement, and also support teachers in implementing fair and effective discipline practices. Next is we have parents and guardians. So they act as partners in reinforcing expected behavior at home. So it starts from home. So their involvement helps bridge school and also home environments, ensuring that Students receive consistent messages about responsibility and conduct. And finally, we have students themselves. So they play an active role in maintaining discipline. So through participation in rule setting, reflection sessions, and also peer mediation, students can develop ownership and also accountability for their actions. So this involvement transforms discipline from something imposed externally into a process of something within, a process of personal growth and also self-management. So in short, the MRR framework succeeds when all four stakeholders work together, sharing responsibility in nurturing a respectful, reflective, and also well-regulated learning environment.
Okay, I will be presenting the legal and ethical in MRR framework. So under the legal and ethical, teachers model lawful and ethical behavior, whereby reinforce integrity and responsibility in students and reflect on their actions to ensure that all the compliances with educational laws, policies, and professional ethics are being followed. This promotes accountability, fairness, and trust in the learning environment. So under the model MRR, which is the model reinforce and reflect. So under the models, teacher demonstrate adherence to the school laws, regulations, and the code of ethics that is being applied in the schools. Model honesty, fairness, respect, and professionalism in all interactions. Furthermore, under the model, there is uphold confidentiality and protect student right and safety, whereby it's follow legal frameworks such as the Education Act 1996 and Child Act 2001. Under the reinforce, it encourages students to act responsibility and ethically in school activity. Not only that, it brings a positive behavior like a respect, accountability, and integrity among the students and also the teachers. It also established classroom rules that reflects legal and moral principle. Furthermore, reinforcement model uses guidance and feedback to promote ethical decisions making among students. Under the reflect, it continuously evaluates personal teaching practices for legal and ethical alignments. It reflects on decisions and interactions to maintain fairness, transparency. Furthermore, under the reflects, it seeks professional growth and training in ethics and legal compliances, whereby it addresses the ethical dilemmas thoughtfully, whereby it prioritizing the students' welfare and justice. Next. Okay, under the legal and ethical, there is a few strengths and limitations that we can see from here. So from the strength, the first one is it promotes professional integrity. So under MRI model, it ensures students uphold laws, policies, and code of ethics in their practice. It also builds trust between the teachers, students, parents, and the school community. Second, it protects student rights and safety. So the strength is that it's under the legal is it ensure a safe and secure learning environment because it follows the laws. Second is it prevents misconduct, discrimination, or abuse through adherence to child protection laws. Third, build a positive school culture whereby when teacher model lawful behavior, students learn to respect the rules and authority. It also creates a culture of fairness, respect, and justice across the school community. Number four is support reflective and ethical practices. It encourages teachers to regularly reflect on their conduct to stay aligned with the legal and moral standard and continues their professional improvement and ethical awareness. So if we look at the limitation, there are few limitations that we can see over here. The first one is overemphasis on rules and procedures. So excessive focus on legal compliances may reduce teachers' autonomy and creativity. It can make the teaching feel rigid or bureaucratic rather than student-centered, whereby the teachers cannot always focus on the law, okay? We must also see another side of it. Secondly is lack of awareness and training. Some teachers may not fully understand the educational laws or ethical standard. So the inadequate training can lead to the unintentional non-compliances or inconsistent practices. Third, time and administrative pressure. So legal documentation and reporting requirement can add workload and stress. So it may reduce time for lesson planning, students' engagement and reflection. Number 4 is ethical dilemmas in practices. So teacher may face situation where legal rules conflict with moral judgments, example confidentially and student safety. Not only that, it requires a careful balance between following the law and acting compassionately. Last but not least is the uneven implementation. So different school or administrator may interrupt compliance policies differently. It may lead to the inconsistency and potential unfairness in how rules are applied. Thank you.
Next, I will give a scenario about this framework. Okay, so the scenario is encouraging respectful communication in class. Okay, first model. So the teacher basically noticed that some student interrupt or speak rudely during group discussion. So to address this issue, the teachers begin modeling respectful communication by listening attentively when students speak, using a polite and encouraging language. Third is waiting for others to finish before speaking. Student will observe and begin to mirror the teacher's respectful behavior. The second step is reinforce. So the teacher acknowledge the student who communicate politely through verbal praise. For example, I appreciate how you wait for your turn to speak. And then a respect star chart where teams earn point for showing good manners and cooperation. This positive reinforce motivate the other student to practice the same behavior. The last step is reflect. So at the end of the week, the teacher hold a reflection session with the classroom. So the student and the teachers will discuss and reflect on how respectful communication makes group work smoother and enjoyable. So in conclusion, the student develop stronger communication skill, show mutual respect, and demonstrate improved discipline by providing the effectiveness of MRR model, which is model, reinforce, and reflect.
Such a scenario is model. Two students have repeated engage in group programming during the group activity. This way, the learning environment and negatively impact group cooperation, where the student they have may have achievement in group during the group work lah. The teacher observe them for over 2 weeks period and document their behavior. And when the teacher found out that the root cause appear to be the misunderstanding and operating opinion within the group, where maybe both of them have two opinion but disagree with each other lah. Okay, for reinforcement, the teacher create a teamwork cycle to monitor group cooperation, where the teacher will record student behavior in the group. The group that display full cooperation and resolve them without any conflict were available and decision point as a reward for effective teamwork. Lastly, repair. After the group work, the teacher may encourage all the group to respect each other's opinion and work toward achieving agreement on which idea to follow and the group goal. Also, by making each other conflict and resolve issue and set a goal by distance before responding and speak respectfully. Right. So for me, thank you.
In conclusion, an effective discipline control mechanism such as the MRR framework serves as a comprehensive approach to nurturing responsible and ethical behavior among students. It moves beyond the traditional notion of punishment and focuses instead on prevention, encouragement, and relationship repair. Most importantly, it encourages the development of self-discipline, emotional intelligence, and social responsibility, which are vital for lifelong success and community harmony. Now, we have to look into the students. particularly, they are the next leaders. They are the successors who will replace the entire civilization, the entire society for the coming time. Now, when schools implement the MRR framework consistently and collaboratively, discipline becomes not a form of control, but a form of education and empowerment. Last but not least, true discipline is not imposed, it is inspired. When students understand, reflect, and take responsibility, discipline becomes a shared journey toward character and integrity. Now, that's all from me. Thank you.